Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to Lloyd's first ever Cyber Summit.
What must be the most talked about topic in risk at present? Today, the average cyber claim costs $139,000 for small businesses. So the stakes are high.
Cyber is an increasing risk around the world. We would identify it as one of the three systemic risks across the world alongside pandemic and climate change.
The greatest victory is that which requires no battle. Plan for what is difficult when it's easy, do what is great when it is small. You must presume that at some point there will be a cyber attack on you.
A really critical time for folks to think about not just the cyber insurance that they need to buy, but the future focus of this industry, what's coming next, and all of the resilience that we need to build into this fast-growing threat for the future.
Who are the threat actors that are challenging our cyber resilience?
There's a hierarchy of capability in cyber, from nation states at the top through criminal groups who by volume are the largest and the ones we should all worry about. I think that's changed in a couple of ways. One is sophistication in all areas is growing. Two is that the appetite for risk, particularly amongst nation states, as we've seen particularly in Ukraine, but even before Ukraine, is rising, so they're less worried about being seen to be doing this. Criminals are becoming more targeted. Now we see criminals increasingly scanning for weaknesses, as nation states always have. All of them are getting better at it. Our response has to match that.
The actual threat itself, and I think what's interesting with how that's changed and developed over the last few years, sort of during and post-pandemic, has been the aggressive nature of it. So the sort of double dipping. So you've got the element where a business has all their data encrypted, but then there's an exfiltration of that data, and then almost like a publishing on the dark web of that data with a view to them paying the ransom within a certain period of time.
People in the C-suite of companies, or even high levels of government, don't really understand the threat. They think of it as a technical issue, they think of it as some boutique issue, when it really is an issue both of risk management and something that undergirds all of their businesses and the future of their businesses.
When you're thinking about cyber, particularly those in industry, can get very technical, when really we need to be thinking about when digital hits the real world, and that's where the cyber risk comes.
There are many challenges. One is what we are working on is reactively adaptive malware. Malware, that is the malicious software that is changing patterns, which is very worrisome because it's like one day I come with black hair, tomorrow with blonde, the next day with red hair. But you can see with malware, it can change in milliseconds.
It's been said that in the next decade, we'll experience more than 100 years of technological change. And so you just let that sink in for a moment.
We have definitely seen an uptick of insider attacks against the backdrop of the economic climate that we're in. People are willing to do things that they perhaps wouldn't have done a year, 2 years ago.
Unfortunately, people have been grossly starved of resources for many years in Britain, and as a result, there haven't been enough bad guys getting caught. So there's a number of things that are broken about the world here, and doing more at the government level is part of it. That means institutional change.
If you look at cyber criminals, they're brilliant at collaboration, sharing intelligence, sharing vulnerabilities and sharing tools. And I think industry needs to learn a lot from that. Everybody has to play its part in addressing the cyber threat. We need the right policies to be in place to allow us to collaborate. We need the right bits of kit in place, but crucial to all of that is the intelligence that we get from working with our partners. But there is benefit in law enforcement actually going after some of these bad guys and then sharing that strategic intelligence.
Cyber is one of those few things that is such a clear and present danger that there feels like there is the governmental, the crime prevention and the boardroom impetus to actually do something beforehand. So we do believe we've got to work together across the whole piece, and insurers to reinsurers, to try and bridge the protection gap, and understanding that risk has no borders anymore, and that there are no safe havens for many of these type of risks.
We have all these smaller companies that simply have not accepted yet that part of their business model is digital. And we also have to fight against the reputation that if you become a victim of an attack, you don't have a reputational issue.
The one word I would take away this afternoon is resilience. The resilience levels need to rise across organizations, across individuals, across governments in order to make what we do financeable and affordable.
It's really important to deal with this burgeoning cyber threat, that we bring together industry, government, intelligence experts, but also the insurance industry, because we have a critical role to play.